Hey, hey.
Good morning, good evening, and good night. Oh, I've got something to show the YouTubers,
Oh,
Ben,
yes.
if I may.
Go
Uh,
for it.
well, we were talking about, tell them, show them, involve them. And
Yes.
so I found the Chinese philosopher that is Ben Lynch.
Oh, gee whiz.
That's listed straight from your LinkedIn profile. It's
I might
Ben
use that.
Confucius Lynch.
That's great. I love the top bun there. So if you use ChatGPT to create an image of me. Well played. G'day, good people. Welcome to the Grow Your Clinic podcast by Clinic Mastery. Here's what's coming up inside of this episode. How do you create a sense of belonging for a new practitioner?
Ideally, you know their coffee order. And so that first hour is really about connection.
What we're sharing on screen now is an onboarding checklist.
How soon should a new team member start seeing patients, clients? Sooner rather than later.
Because so often, especially in the younger, new grads or early career therapists, the B word comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, you don't know what I used to see, how many clients I would help and support.
In our 0 to 100, we actually have a before you join the team page.
Gold star, Hannah. Gold star.
Thanks.
Fantastic.
You live for my validation, don't you?
Yeah.
This episode will be right up your alley if you're looking to build the caseload of a new practitioner. We're diving into their onboarding experience. And trust me, you want to hear Hannah's take on how to make them feel welcome before their very first day. Plus, Jack shares how to talk performance expectations from day one. Before we dive in, today's episode is brought to you by allieclinics.com. If you're the kind of clinic owner who loves to feel organized and stay ahead of the chaos, you'll love Allie. Think of it as your digital clone. It's the single source of truth for all your clinic's policies, systems, and training. Test it for free at allieclinics.com. And in other news, applications are now open to work with us one-on-one at Clinic Mastery. If you want support to grow your clinic and bring your vision to life, just email hello@clinicmastery.com with the subject line podcast and we'll line up a time to chat. All right, let's get into the episode. It is episode 317. Welcome back, folks. My name is Ben Lynch. I'm again joined by Hannah Dunn, Director of DOTS and OT Service in Melbourne. Hannah, school holidays are coming up. Are you going to the snow? Is that on the cards?
No more snow.
No more snow?
We are going camping though, with 2 different groups of friends, which will be awesome. Down to Anglesea and then to Wye River.
I hear you find out who your real friends are after a camping trip.
Yeah, that's true. I think some of my friends go cabins though, so I mean, is that camping?
My wife and I were talking about camping the other day, and we both arrived at the same conclusion. We would be doing glamping. It's just like, no, we did that as a kid. We're well beyond that. Jack, I know you love doing it, and welcome to the episode. Jack O'Brien, former physiotherapist and middle-aged man in Lycra, as you owned up to recently on a pod. How is the prep for the triathlon going?
It's this weekend, Ben. So a half Ironman, 70.3, and the taper has begun. The exercise physiologists will understand the taper. The carb loading is about to begin for all those dietitians. It is a good week. I can confirm it is a good week.
After having pizza 3 nights in a row over the weekend, I was doing carb loading.
We had pizza 2 nights in a row, and I had leftovers for lunch just before we hit record.
Oh,
Right.
It's so good. So good. Well, that's good. Aren't triathlons and Ironman the same thing?
Yes, Ironman is a distance of triathlon. Okay. I'm doing a half Ironman, just for those who would be picking apart the details, is half, not a full.
Okay, there you go.
Yes.
Well,
Hannah, you're a closet Iron person, aren't you?
No. Well, my husband's done them, and I have done one in a 3-person, so I only did the half marathon distance of the run.
There you go.
Did the run.
Well done. Well done. There's a few Clinic Mastery coaches. Bridget Linden inspired me in a triathlon. Shane Bennett, not Shane Davis. And a couple of our members, Ryan Twist, podiatrist in Melbourne, is all over it. So there you go, Ben.
Well done. That's very nice. The endurance to go through that. And that's quite a bit. I've seen you practicing. I've seen some of the Lycra shots. Yeah, looking good, JOB.
Thank you, mate. Yes, speaking of looking good, had a few good-looking, I believe, never met them, clinic owners join our community in the last couple of days. So welcome to Karen in the Business Academy, Jackson in the Business Academy, Tamid in the Business Academy. We've had a graduate from our Elevate to our Business Academy in the last couple of days as well. And one thing that did come up this week, Hannah, is that the summit is coming up in March. The Grow Your Clinic Summit. This is our big flagship event, hundreds of clinic owners, the Melbourne River Promenade. However, it is a members-only summit. So this is like the number one conference for health professionals for the year, if you ask me. And so, but it's members only. So, Ben, if listeners are interested in the Grow Your Clinic Summit March 2026, tickets are available for members only. You can send an email to ben@clinicmastery.com and Ben will take care of you. You're welcome to join us as a member, and then you can join us at the summit.
Yes, and it's 2 days.
It's 2 days, Friday, Saturday, tax deduction, check with your accountant. Cocktails are on us, and it is what a time to be alive.
Yeah, one of our favourite times of the year.
Yeah, a lot of folks bring along their team members, especially the leadership team. Hannah, you've done that the last couple of years, right? What's been the experience and the reasoning behind bringing your team along?
Yeah, I think it's been an amazing opportunity for the team to hear from some of the other coaches around a lot of the things that I'm implementing. They say, once they've been, they're like, oh, that's what Hannah says. And I'm like, yeah, that is where I have got a lot of this stuff from. And so it gets a lot more buy-in. It gets them on board. It gets them leading. So this year was my most incredible summit because Louise, our operations manager, who's been on the team for 8 years, has just said, I'll just deal with that project. I'll do that. So I'm not even leading these things anymore. They're taking ideas from the summit and saying, we're going to run with these projects. We've got the info. Leave it with us.
Yeah, very nice indeed to bring them along. I think you bring your team along the journey with you and you create sustainable growth. And they love getting an insight. We always say it's great to hear it from someone else because it's not, quote, from mum and dad, you know, if you got kids, you know, you've been telling the kids this thing forever and then an aunt or an uncle says it and you're like, far out, I've been saying that for ages. So it's always good to get an independent voice. And to dovetail that, Jack, of sharing my email address, folks can hit me up, ben@clinicmastery.com. If you are on Splows, Halaxy or Nucal, because we are integrating Allie into those platforms so you get real-time data to support the management of your team. We've got a priority list for you to get early access and a good deal. Just send me an email and I'll help you through the next steps.
So that is ben@clinicmastery.com for the Allie integrations for Summit. If you're not a member yet, but you're interested in joining, so you can join us at the Summit. And for members, if you are listening along, you have a members only discount code. I will not be sharing it publicly here, but you have your 83% off discount code. So feel welcome to check us out in Slack or your emails if you are an Academy or Elevate member, because tickets have sold out the last 3 years. I think we've been doing this since COVID.
Yeah, COVID disrupted things.
It will sell out probably by Christmas, so get your tickets early.
I just started watching Clarkson's Farm, you know, Jeremy Clarkson. Yes. A few people had said it's lighthearted, it's funny. Anyway, they start in season 1 in 2019 and then it rolls into COVID. And I was like, oh my God, what a world we all lived through, especially the Melbourne folks. Just crazy. Anyway, I don't want to digress down that too much because, Hannah, in a conversation that we had on Slack, you said something that got my attention. I thought would be a perfect place for us to begin. In a previous episode, we had the very dynamic Joey Coleman, and he wrote a book which circled around the community called Never Lose a Customer Again. And from that book, it was essentially like the first 100 days of a new customer's journey. Do everything you possibly can to set them up for success, whatever that looks like in your industry. And you'll essentially have a client for life. And we thought, what if we applied this to team members internally? So we created our own version of this journey for new team members. Well, a few years later, Joey wrote a book called Never Lose a Team Member Again, and we had him on the podcast. We're like, hey, Joey, here's what we did with your first book, and this so aligns. Having said that, So many folks go through all this process to recruit somebody, and then it's like, what do we do to give them the best possible start? And you made a point in a thread, which was, how do you create a sense of belonging for a new practitioner before they even walk in the door for their very first day? So talk us through it. How do you go about doing it, and how have you seen others do it?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's quite a few things that Clinic Mastery has taught me, and I'm sure many others in our community. One of the things that we get a lot of positive feedback around is sending a gift or flowers the week before someone starts, just to say, hey, we're so excited for you to be joining us. We can't wait to see you. That tends to stand out from other jobs that they've previously had. The other things that we do is also, like, for example, we've already signed on some of our new grads for next year. And so now till next year is a long time to wait to join the team. So thinking about what those key points are that we can invite them in. So we invite them to our team day. We have previously invited them to Christmas, just to have a couple of those touch points before they start and to get to know the team a little bit. No expectation that they come, because we know that everyone's busy, but it's still nice to be included and invited into those things.
That's an interesting scenario, Hannah. I know I've coached a number of clinic owners who have, even now, like August, September at the time of recording, or August, recruited for next year, and the start date is literally like 4 months away.
Yeah.
And that can create as many problems as it solves, right? So I'm curious, when I say I've coached a number of clinics, there's a number who have offered the job to someone, they've accepted it, and then in the subsequent 4 months, they've walked away.
Yes.
So how do you think about that or protect against that type of thing?
Yeah, I think doing these touch points is one way to protect against that. But I also think just having a realistic mindset that these people, like, they are going to have other job opportunities potentially. And so making sure that they know that if they've got any questions, they can come back to you. That, we might say something along the lines of, we know that there are going to be recruiters in your inbox. We're really excited to have you here. If you get someone in your inbox and it is making you question it, please feel welcome to bring that to us. We're happy to chat through any of those questions that you might have about the differences between the roles. Usually we're offering it to a therapist who has been on placement for 8 weeks with us. So they've already experienced the culture. They're already sort of got that buy-in. But for someone who hasn't, offering them opportunities to say, anytime you want to come into the clinic to hang out with our team, let us know. We understand you've got holidays coming up. That might work well from not being at uni, or whatever works for you.
Yeah.
So you're getting them involved in CPD, you're getting them involved in team events, like seasonal ones like the Christmas party. You're getting them involved in team days if you've got one of those scheduled between now and their start date. And you're also giving them sort of like a welcome gift. Is that how you position it?
Yep, absolutely.
Talk us through how you actually frame it up to that team member about getting them involved before their start date. Like you said, it can be a little bit optional, depends on what they've got. Talk us through, like, how do you actually say that or frame it up to them?
Yeah, we give them a call and say, hey, we've got this. We just had a team day on Friday. Gosh, that feels like it was ages ago, but it was 3 days ago. We had a team day on Friday, and we did reach out to those OTs and say, hey, this is what's happening. We'd be keen for you to join us. Totally understand if you've got other commitments, but if you can join us for part of the day, we'd love to see you. We let them know what we're doing on that day. On Friday, we were doing mat evaluations and training around positioning. So that's quite exciting to come to. It's a pretty big skill to learn. So that's the way we do it. We have previously considered adding a Slack channel and giving them email addresses and giving them access to all our PD. We did feel that was a bit overwhelming and a bit too much. And then we also felt like if they do walk away, we've given them our intellectual property with that PD side of stuff. But I think you could drip feed some if you wanted to, like have a couple that you offer, or we do a professional development session once a fortnight, inviting them to that.
Yes.
I think we're realistic that people are going to walk away at times. Things are going to change in a 6-month period of time. And so just being prepared that while we've created as much security as we can for them and for us, things can change. And so we're also prepared to hear why something's changed for someone as well.
I really like that, Hannah, that you kind of preempt some of those conversations. Like, you will have recruiters in your inbox and you will have questions, and come to me. It's like, you're making sure that the conversation is open, that they don't hide, that they know the expectation when those things come. And I think about what's the problem we're trying to solve? We're trying to solve, for us as the employer, we're trying to solve a vacuum of applicants. We're recruiting now in August or September for someone to start in January or February because the pool is bigger. And so how can we do things that protect against that? I know in our clinic, we occasionally would have put on these, before they graduate and get their qualification, we put them on as assistants casually. And so that way the roster can be flexible for them and for us. There's no, kind of costs unnecessarily, but it would get them involved. And I love the principle of inviting them in, and it triggers that law of reciprocity, where when we make people feel like a part of the team, they're less likely to fall away from the team. So I know clinics that will get the business cards printed up for that team member, get the uniform printed if you embroider it. You might add their email address, and so that they've got, steve@clinicname.com.au. They feel like they're a part of the team. Include them in on your CPD, include them in on your social events. I really like that. And I think there's something in that for clinic owners to think about, how do I make this person, this future employee, feel a part of the team now, so that they don't kind of get cold feet or find greener grass somewhere else. We water the grass and make it greener on our side rather than looking somewhere else for it.
And I think having all that information, like we've spoken about job offers previously, but just around having that in a written document where they can revisit it and it's not just all verbal and they sort of forget about those exciting things that you've been able to document.
It's a great point, Hannah. We've talked about not just sending the position description and contract via email without having a conversation first. How many times have we heard the story that someone reads the contract, they get scared off by a clause that's pretty normal that's in there, and then they decide to go somewhere else. So being able to have regular conversations is important. I just love the notion that we get them involved before their first day. As small or as significant as it might be in terms of a time commitment, we're just looking to get them involved rather than just say, all right, welcome to the team. Okay, we'll see you in 6 weeks or 4 weeks or 4 months, depending on the timeline for them. Get them involved for it. What do you think then are some of the core objectives that you have in mind, Hannah, when it comes to onboarding a new practitioner specifically, maybe different from a receptionist or an admin? If you think about what are you actually trying to accomplish with them, what are some of those objectives that you're trying to meet during their onboarding?
Yeah, we want to make sure that we are welcoming them on the first day and that we're not leaving them just to arrive at a clinic with a team who doesn't know that they're even turning up, and that we've got someone there ready to show them through the clinic. We're getting our 0 to 100 in place, which is a CM document around the first 100 days that someone is with you. It's their onboarding document, and it's just a wow factor. Everyone is always so wowed for any of our clinics that have a 0 to 100 in place. And I think what we're really trying to work out in those first couple of days is around where are their skills, where are the areas that we want to sort of fill in the gaps a little bit, and where is that information that they can get, while also making sure that they understand what are our systems and what are our expectations that may be the same or may be different from another organisation that they've worked out previously.
Nice. So you're looking at, like, one, make them feel welcome. Have someone orientate them, make sure they know who to go to, where to go, etc. So make them feel welcome. I love that. Number 2 is assess their skills, essentially get a good understanding for where they're at clinically, so that we can design, what do we need to add more of or add entirely into their onboarding. And then thirdly, give them an awareness of some of the systems that are in the clinic, where to go to understand certain elements of the clinic so they can do their job particularly well. So they're kind of 3 key objectives that you're trying to achieve, that you're kind of focusing on through that 0 to 100. I hate LinkedIn just as a platform. It's a bit of a dive. But anyway, when logging into LinkedIn and seeing people posting their images of the 0 to 100 document, there is a CM asset that walks through the first 100 days of a new team member's journey, and a clinic sort of promoting it as, here's the type of experience that you get at our clinic. I feel really proud of the work that we've done to design really great experiences for our team, not just clients, but for team members as well. Jack, when you think about the onboarding of a new practitioner, what are a couple of objectives that you think clinic owners ought to pursue to make that a really fruitful onboarding?
Yeah, when I think about onboarding and induction, I'm really thinking about the first moment, the first hour, the first day, and the first week. And how can we maximize those moments and create great first impressions? And you've always got to zoom out and go, well, what are the objectives that we're trying to achieve? For the person, the human in front of us, we want to reduce their anxiety, calm down that, sympathetic fight or flight type unknown response, and we want to put them at ease. And so that first moment, ideally, you want to be there to greet them at the door, shake hands, give them a hug, whatever's appropriate, smile, open hands, body language that is relaxed and welcoming. Use their name, look them in the eye, and then help them to feel like they're in control. And so if we've got a space for them where they feel like they're welcomed and they're included at their desk with an arrangement there that's really welcoming and comforting, can we show them around, make sure they know where the bathrooms are? Typically, when you're nervous, you need to do a nervous wee. And so show them where the bathrooms are, introduce them to the rest of the team, help them to make eye contact, shake hands, use their name. Often at our clinic, I would make sure that everyone else in the team knew the name and ideally their partner's name of who was joining us, and that they were primed, ready to shake hands, look them in the eye, and use their name. And so that first moment, first hour is really important. Ideally, their coffee order and you've got their coffee or their tea or their water, sparkling or still, ready to go. And so that first hour is really about connection and making sure there's some good emotional and energetic synergy.
You make a good point, Jack, around there being a space for them. I think so often they might be taking over someone else's role, so that person is in that clinic room that they will have, and they can feel a bit shoved around at times in some clinics. And so it is such a simple thing that can be overlooked so easily.
And I didn't get this perfect by any stretch. Often we're in confined spaces, or You're right, there's like where we haven't got a space yet. We're expanding. We're just like, but you can make excuses or you can make it happen. Right. So it might be that we make space in the staff room, the team room, the kitchen room, but at least we've carved out a bit of space, and their 0 to 100 document is on the table, their business cards and a gift or a book is ready to go with their name written card in there, or a gift for their partner if you're able to do that. That making space is really significant.
One of those things that you spoke about, Jack, the first moment, jogged a memory for me where we'd often share the phone number, email address of the new team member with some of the existing team members. Once we've, welcomed them to the team, we've given them the call, we've sent the email that's saying, hey, welcome, you're the successful candidate in the role, really thrilled to have you as part of the team. We'll be in touch in the next couple of days, as it so often goes. And then to get 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 messages from existing team members just saying like, hey, Hannah, it's Ben here from so-and-so clinic. Just heard the good news that you got the role. Congratulations. Really excited to meet you over the coming days. And they get this kind of flurry of positivity to reinforce it from other people they haven't met yet. It's like such a simple thing to be able to do to kind of layer it on. We talk about the milestone, the moment, and the multiplier. The milestone being, hey, we've made the call and given them the offer. The moment is that conversation or just around it where people acknowledge it and celebrate it. And the multiplier might be, like you said, Hannah, not necessary, but just kind of adds to it, which is they receive flowers or a bottle of wine or something like that. Maybe ideally on the same day or, in the days following, just to really make that a wonderful experience for them initially. But I think that's really good. So a strong emphasis and alignment between you both, as I just take a couple of notes on the welcoming and really trying to understand, how do people feel when they join the team, and how could we sort of counter that? Okay, maybe they're feeling anxious, so how can we make them feel at ease? What are some things? It's also a good thing, depending on your team, to actually throw it around the room and workshop it together and say, have you got any ideas for how we ought to do this? Because one of the questions I was going to have is, how does your current team members' experience inform or give you some insights about the next onboarding experience? What role does feedback or a review play in you getting better at this? Jack, as you said, we've all made mistakes. How do you actually thoughtfully and in a kind of a systemized way make sure that this experience for this person is good, but that we're going to learn from it and pick it up and apply it next time? Hannah, how do you actually do that?
We have a process and a procedure.
Yeah.
And in our 0 to 100, we actually have a before you join the team page. So we have people who are responsible for that page and ticking things off as well. But we have a 3-month review that is an actual review where I sit down with the new team member and one other their supervisor or mentor, and we get feedback from them about some of the questions we ask her. What did we miss letting you know about? Is there anything you're missing from a previous role? What are we doing well? What have you enjoyed? Those sort of questions. But we check in that 3 months. It's not just about, hey, you've completed probation period. It's also about let's just get a bit of a review of whether we missed anything that we can level up in.
And is that just a conversation? Do they fill in a form? Talk us through some of the mechanics. Yeah.
Yeah, they fill in a Google form that gets sent out. It's in their 0 to 100 in the 2 weeks before their 3-month review. It says to book in your 3-month review and to complete this paperwork. And so it's a questionnaire that then comes through, and then we have those answers to then go into a discussion with them. And then they may have thought of other things over those couple of weeks, and we can add them in.
It's really good. I love the formality of that. We would do a similar thing, but also on the fly. And if I'm leading the induction or going through this 0 to 100 process, if I notice something that doesn't quite fit or doesn't feel right, I will iterate on the template that we've got set up for the next person. And I would also share that with the team member that we're onboarding and say, hey, I need your feedback because there's going to be a physio that comes after you. How can I make their induction better? Because capturing their insights with fresh eyes, someone only has fresh eyes once. And so getting their insights and experience and literally letting them see us edit the template for the next person.
Yes.
It is us embodying and showing our core values of maybe it's, that we are world class or that we make things better, we make it happen. They see us editing things. Oh, yeah, right. These guys are onto it.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you if I get a gold star for this, Jack, in a minute. On our 0 to 100, every page that they do, we've edited the template. Once they tick everything off, they get a star at the top of the page and it says completed. And the last action item is I've provided feedback on anything that was missed in this week.
Oh,
and so
love that.
Thanks.
Yeah. There you go. If you're watching on YouTube, I've given the red balloons.
So yeah, that has been really good for us to action that, which is, awesome.
So then what are some of the objective or maybe even subjective elements for your own assessment that this has been a successful onboarding of a new practitioner?
I'll say utilisation. So go to your dashboard. And ultimately, what is the objective? We are looking to create a seamless, enjoyable, thorough experience so that these practitioners can help more people. I think, that would be my opinion, is that the point of an induction is so that this new practitioner can feel happy and fulfilled in their role and that they are performing at a high level as sustainably and as soon as possible, which is utilisation.
And I would add 2 things to that, well, including that being that they understand their pathways and what their opportunities are, and that they understand their rewards program and how that works for them.
Love it.
Talk us through the pathways bit. What do you mean?
Like whether they know that at what point they can take on project work, how do they become a team leader, how do they progress into being a recent graduate instead of a new graduate.
Okay, and how do you know that? Do you just literally ask them? What's your process for actually figuring out whether that has been achieved?
We do have a question in the 0 to 3 months about whether they understand that. And then we also ask it at all the 6 and 12 months around whether they understand the strategic direction of DOTS and how their role fits into that.
Gold star, Hannah. Gold star.
Thanks.
Fantastic. That's
I know
good.
you
It's been
live
a
for
lot
my
of shaping over a lot of
You
years.
live for my validation, don't you?
Yeah. The other thing I was going to ask you, Jack, is about how quickly people pick clients up, because this was something I don't think I was doing particularly well and have edited over time.
Yeah, well, this came up, if I recall, as a discussion in our coaches roundtable level up sessions. And the question was like, how soon should a new team member start seeing patients, clients? And there was a variety of different responses. If I recall, the essence of the conversation was sooner rather than later. Yeah, it's like, because you get better and you develop an understanding by getting the reps in. You know, we can tell someone or we can show someone, but if we involve them, as the great orator Ben Lynch often says, if we can involve them, and they'll feel what our new client journey seems like. They'll feel what the initial consult should look like by doing initial consults, not just reading a process on Allie and looking at a playlist on Allie. It's like, no, do the work and get the reps in. Ben, I attributed that quote to you. I assume it's your original.
Well, it was until the other day, and Dan Gibbs, I think on a huddle said, he read out some version of a quote, and it was this Chinese proverb, essentially said the same. I'm like, there you go. Maybe in a past life, I was some sort of
Chinese philosopher.
No, I love that process. We use that in the recruitment sense of tell them, show them, involve them. And if you can get to the involve them part, it's just such a richer experience for everyone. And certainly cuts through a lot. So Hannah, you said that you've made some mistakes, haven't we all?
Absolutely.
Tell us more, what have been some of those learnings that you've had and what has it led to?
So I was such a fun, friendly boss that I gave them 2 weeks of no clients and that they could just shadow and have a really fun time, and then we'd get into it. And then I took it back to 1 week. And then one of the CM coaches, I can't recall who, might have been Ben or a Chinese proverb, who knows, said to me this, the subconscious message we're sending there is, it's hard to see clients, so we're not going to make you do that. And so by saying to them it's too hard to see clients this week, we just want you focused on the learning, is really sending that message that sets you up to say, look, it's hard work seeing clients, but if we get them in and it's just part of what we do and it's just expected that is part of the job and a big part of the job, and that it's easy to do that around the other work such as onboarding, then that is probably a better message to be sending. And so that doesn't mean full client days every day, but maybe that means the morning is onboarding, getting through that 0 to 100, and the afternoon is seeing a couple of clients and having some time to sit on sessions or whatever that looks like. But that was really big messaging for me to be what is the message we're sending?
Well, Jack, you raised a really good point. Okay, the single most important thing, the single best indicator of success, really, of a great onboarding is utilization. Let's go backwards a step. How do you frame that up from the very beginning so that you give yourself the best chance of succeeding?
Well, we know that when we hire someone, that ultimately they're coming into our clinic knowing our core purpose, our painted picture, our core values, and that is to help more people to become the best version of ourselves, to grow as professionals. And so there's this culture around high performance. Yes, you want to feel, all the lovey-dovey feels, but we're also here to do good work, to be good health professionals and to help as many people as possible. And so there's already that underlying ethos. And to Hannah's point, we want to get them seeing, we don't want to overwhelm people, but we also don't want to underwhelm them, right? We just want to whelm them.
Yeah.
So what's the right client? Yeah, it's just whelm. What's the right client load for the first week? That's going to vary from profession to profession, from individual early stage career to more experienced and further in their career. But it does look like seeing clients at least in their first week and potentially, probably even on their first day, dare I say it. Now, I'm curious, Hannah, if I recall again that coach's level up session, we spoke about whether we should give new team members, say 1 or 2 patients a day across their 5 days, assuming full time, or should we, to paraphrase, load up 2 days a week and then 3 and then 4. Do you recall where that conversation went, Hannah?
I don't recall where it went. Do you know where it went?
Yes,
I
I
do
do.
know what
I
I
do. Yes,
do, but
that's a leading question. It's
yeah,
very presumptive of me.
exactly. I'm like,
Learning
let
from
me think.
learning from Shane Davis. So, I really we ended up getting to a place where we would say we want to load up 1 or 2 days a week so that our team members feel what a full day feels like. So rather than them get used to seeing 2 or 3 patients a day every single day, it's like, no, let's get used to a full day and then realize that this is actually quite comfortable to see 6 or 6.5 billable hours in a day or impact hours in a NDIS or PED setting, in a musculoskeletal context, to see 8, 10, 12 appointments a day, 1 day a week is very comfortable. And so we can build that to 2 or 3 days a week, seeing 10 or 12 patients in a physio context. And they've proven to themselves that this isn't burnout territory, that it's very sustainable. And in fact, it's very fulfilling and satisfying. And so the takeaway message for listeners is to think about how can we fill 1, 2, 3 days a week, full days, rather than 5 half full days.
I think that process of being able to go back to back is so important for you, sharpening kind of the skill set of starting and finishing appointments on time, preparing for appointments, that, really prepares you for bigger caseloads moving forward. I'm interested in this conversation going down the line of the burnout point that you mentioned there, Jack, because so often, especially in the younger, new grads or early career therapists, the B word comes out. And you're
let's
like,
talk about it. Let's
you
go.
don't know what I used to see, how many clients I would help and support. So I wonder, Hannah, do you even address this proactively? Do you talk about burnout proactively with your team? Or is it the elephant in the room that we just wait to make a noise before we address it?
I talk about like people who see 2 or 3 clients a day can sometimes feel much busier than those who see 5 or 6, and that can be due to the way in which we're setting up exactly what you were just talking to, like making sure we're efficient in all those note writing, getting our appointments finished on time. Also, just the pre-planning of appointments. Like people who have 2 to 3 and don't book their future appointments and then spend appointments booking future appointments can really feel like their calendar's full. So we talk about it in the sense of the more efficient you are, the higher the billable actually feels easier than the lower billable and the inefficiencies. We don't use the word burnout, but one thing that there's been so much that I've watched on burnout and about how to address it, because the word definitely comes out and it's not something we're talking about early, because I feel like I don't want to be like, you might burn out. But when it does come out, just asking like, what does that really mean? What does that look like? Getting an understanding of not just using that word. But I watched a really interesting video that I think was shared in one of the CM channels, that was a YouTube clip around people are feeling burnt out because they're talking about burnout. Like it's not an actual burnout.
Like
We did a
contagion.
great
Correct.
episode with clinical psychologist Sean Goldberg, also a member of CM, where we talked all about burnout. So we'll clip that underneath the episode here. You can go back and listen in and watch that, because it does come up, Hannah. And at the start of a new practitioner's journey, we've got a great clean slate to pre-frame a lot of these things moving forward about their caseload, about how they show up as a teammate. And so the opportunity may be to talk about this in a way. I was interested in whether you address it sort of head on, or is there some other ways? I like the tact of talking about, flow. And I think that's the brilliant thing of shadowing high performers. Be super careful as to who you get that new team member to watch and sit in on, because if they can see the high performers in your team that, in a probably speech OT site case where maybe they're doing 5, 6, 7 billable hours in a day, they go, wow, that's totally achievable. You sort of handled it with, grace and ease, and you got through it. And, insert the MSK case. So I think shadowing the right person is super important. I love the way that you frame that up. So Jack, just to get really specific here on your utilization point, are you advocating that clinic owners explicitly call out the goals of utilization within the first 3 months so that the new team member knows exactly the expectations?
Yes.
I was like, Jack, the answer's yes.
I feel like I'm in a deposition in like a legal case. I'll just answer succinctly. Yes. Yes, Ben, because, expectations clearly communicated is a far healthier relationship rather than us assuming that they know or surprising them. They didn't know. Maybe they've come from somewhere else and they've got pre-existing expectations. And it's not like we're not talking about crazy, unachievable high bars. We're just talking about what is the expectations of the role. Like, you got into healthcare to help people. And part of the role here is helping people. That's sustainable for the clinic, it's sustainable for your salary and rewards. And ultimately, the more people you help, the more fulfilled and satisfied you're going to be. We're here to help people. And so none of us want a job where we're sitting around twiddling our thumbs, getting out the dustpan and brush or scrolling on social media. That's not what we come to work for. We come to work to have a full caseload of ideal clients. So let's get after it. And that's when you'll feel most energized.
And I have people saying to me, like some of the people I coach and other people that I talk to, like, oh yeah, those team members aren't on rewards yet. I'll talk to them about rewards when they get higher up. For us, we introduce rewards at interview stage. Like, we want you to know what your opportunities are. We introduce it in a way that we say, when you start with us, there will be a quarter in which we're building up your numbers. Maybe I need to move away from that, but we'll see. We say there's a quarter in which you'll be building up your numbers. We're not necessarily expecting you to hit these numbers in your first quarter, but by the end of the second quarter, we consistently see our team hitting these numbers. And that can change for everyone. You just let us know where you're at and we'll work with you to support you. And then that's when we talk about, often if you're not hitting these numbers, it's due to some inefficiencies or flow. And that's our job to make sure that we can close those gaps.
It's a really good point of owning it. I love that sort of framing of, we're here to help you succeed, for you to see as many patients as possible or do as many billable hours as you can, whilst maintaining this flow and a sense of ease that you feel capable to do it. Yeah. And there's going to be some tough days and some easier days, but we want to make sure that we've supported you with the training, the onboarding, that you can do this regularly. And so that's where the feedback opportunity comes in, right? Is I need you to let me know what you need from me. And also, whenever you identify those problems, come with some solutions. We've spoken previously about the beautiful 1-3-1 model, like one problem, here's the problem or challenge that I'm having. Here's 3 solutions that I've thought about. And here's the one that I think might be the best. And we're starting to create problem solvers from the beginning. Otherwise, you open the floodgates to feedback and you get all the problems and none of the solutions. And then you create a problem there for yourself. So I think framing that up is really valuable. One thing that we spoke about previously on another episode from Marcio, and he shared with me that in the recruitment process and in the onboarding process, they speak to the fact that they are a fast-changing culture. Like, we're always trialing new tools, new tech, new methods here because we want to provide the best possible experience for our patients and for you as a team member. And so whenever they're installing something new, they don't get that response of, oh, something else or something new, because they've pre-framed it and anchored to it. So I think what's the point here is being super deliberate for a new team member about, these are the key messages that we're going to come and anchor back to ongoing. And it just helps future conversations massively. And we're going to get it wrong moving forward. That's why we come back to a checklist, which I might cue up the screen here, JB, but it looks like you're chomping at the bit to say something.
Yeah, I am. But I don't want to interrupt as long as you're finished.
All right. I will.
To Hannah's point earlier of like preempting that the recruiters will be in your inbox, I think it's a really pertinent fact that we tee up that you will hit a barrier at some point where this goes from easy to hard. That's really normal because we're growing, and growing feels a little bit uncomfortable. When you go to the gym and you lift light weights, it's lightweight, baby. It doesn't, feel it. But when it starts to get heavier, that's when you're getting stronger. When it starts to feel difficult, that's when you're getting better. Lean in, don't lean out. And who do you come to when it starts to get hard? Come to us. You don't go gossiping, at the pub on a Friday or to your other burned out, bitter and twisted health professional friends. then you come to us and we talk about it, and we've got ways to help you get through that and
Mm.
stretch your comfort zone. Because if we're not growing and stretching, we're actually shrinking and dying. So when it gets hard, this is good. Come to us.
And that's why we love putting in some version of personal mastery sessions or learnings in the
Mm.
0 to 100, right? Things around, how you find flow in your schedule, in your day, how you stay positive, how you build resilience. So we're often referring out to podcasts, YouTube videos, etc., books that are great. In fact, we have the Mentors Academy, which is a free resource on our website for folks listening in, and members have access to this because we often get asked, hey, do you have any YouTube videos or podcasts or books that you could recommend on this topic? And we've got like client experiences, leadership, decision making, resilience, and the rest. And you can use that as a guide for a bunch of resources that you could include publicly available in your training. What we're sharing on screen now is an onboarding checklist. This speaks to kind of before your first day and leading up to your first day. The other asset that we were referring to, the 0 to 100, we typically do in a slide deck so it can look really on brand. You can add images of your team, of your clients, and it's really quite a nice visual flow of that team member's journey. But what we're sharing on screen is one tab of about 6 or 7 in your recruitment hub, your recruitment ecosystem. So for members who are tuning in and listening, head along inside the learning portal to owning your recruitment agency. This was a 5-part series that we did the end of 2024 with an abundance of resources. This is just one part of one of these resources where we have a checklist of all the things that we would do in preparation for somebody's first day, including have we sent the offer of employment, the email, and then the relevant documents? Have we captured their information? What bank account are we going to pay you to, and what's your super fund, etc.? Have we sent them a welcome gift? And you can see you can add to this over time. Preparing for their first day, some things that are set up like their email, their access to, Gmail, Google Drive, Microsoft Workspace, what do they call it? Office Teams. There aren't too many people who use that anyway. But, for those that do, and I'm going to really irritate those that do. Anyway, play on 0 to 100, making sure you've actually designed it, edited it from the past experience. Does it reflect the new version? And then have we got, some important things from a HR perspective, their registration number, their insurance certificate, CPR, first aid, etc. And it kind of continues on as I scroll down my screen here. If you're listening in, come over to YouTube and check this out, get some inspiration from this and create your own. But this is just one part of the overall recruitment ecosystem where you track right from applicants all the way through to the successful onboarding of the successful candidate. Hannah, when it comes to ticking this off, is this the sort of thing that you get the practitioner to tick off? Is it done by the practice manager, the clinic owner? Who actually makes sure that this gets done and done in a timely manner?
We have 2 people that get allocated as a mentor to a new team member.
Okay.
And so we have often our operations manager and our whoever will be their ongoing mentor. And so sometimes it's the team leader and the mentor, but we have weekly, so they'll meet fortnightly with each of those 2 people, weekly with each of them, and sit down and make sure all that's ticked off. And prior to them joining, it's Louise, our operations manager, who's ticking that off.
Okay. Yep. So they're meeting weekly. And then do you set up like a dedicated Slack channel? Some folks use Slack, some use Google Chat as an example. It's like a private channel with the new team member and the relevant mentors or supervisors.
Yeah, all of our team have their circle. And so in their circle is, their mentor, our finance manager, and our operations manager, and their themselves. So any questions that they want to ask.
Yep. So what do you think are maybe some of the non-obvious yet really highly valuable actions in onboarding a new practitioner so that they just crush it in their first 100 days. Jack, what do you think are not particularly obvious, like that you see clinic owners overlook regularly and you think, gee, add this in and it makes a meaningful difference?
Probably the key one that comes to mind for me is mastering the initial consult and management plan processes. And particularly when we're hiring someone with experience, maybe it's 1 year, maybe it's 10 years experience, we assume that they're good at initial consults. And my observation across hundreds of clinics is that when you double down on training your new team member in your initial consult way, your operating model, and that goes through how we greet people and how we make them feel, how we do assessments, how we deliver our findings, how we talk about our therapy plans, how we deliver our management plans, whether that's physical, email, first consult, second consult, how do we rebook? These things are critical to make sure that we ingrain these pathways and patterns with new team members out of the gate.
So where do clinic owners fall short? Is it lack of repetition? Is it lack of structure in the first instance that those things even exist, like you're talking through? Where do they fall short?
I'd say lack of emphasis in their 0 to 100. They kind of skim over it. Here's the process. Go and read it in your own time and good luck rolling it out. So lack of emphasis and then lack of accountability or support. What we need to do as clinic owners, or if you've got a mentor in your team or a clinical lead, we need to be, it's not micromanaging. Micromanaging only feels like that if you're insecure about something. We need to be close with our support. And maybe we're shadowing or double consulting when it comes to those initial consults, reading through the clinical notes, going through case studies and testing their clinical reasoning, testing their differential diagnosis, getting them to explain and justify why they did what they did, not from an interrogation perspective, of course, but to reinforce learnings and to ingrain these pathways. So lack of emphasis in the training and lack of intentional close support in the first couple of weeks.
And I think also to add to that is the lack of opportunity to shadow later down the track. So whether that be in the second or third month, that even 12 months on, having those opportunities still be available, and that is known that if you have a cancellation, you can jump in with someone else if that's what works.
How do you make sure, Hannah, that they use that time effectively and they're not just kind of passively sitting there bludging?
Through their utilisation rates, through their calendar as well. So we get them to put in indirect time in their calendar and they write in what they did in that indirect time.
Yes.
So if they went and sat in on a session with someone else, they would be adding that next to the cancellation because it wouldn't come up in their utilisation.
Do you get them to take notes or report? Like, how do you actually know? Okay, I know you sat in there, but what did you do? What did you get out of it?
I'd like to say yes, but this is an area for improvement for us.
That's fair enough.
Well, what I would do if I were you, Hannah, is I would ask that new team member to, if they're going to shadow, kind of an ad hoc shadow, jump over into your Slack channel with your clinical mentor and just pop in there your 1 or 2 insights and 1 or 2 actions that your behavior will change, just to get them to document and write down to consolidate their learnings in their with their mentor.
Yeah, perfect. And I think
you're welcome, Hannah.
Perfect. That's my action item. And the other thing is having people sit in on their sessions. I think sometimes that also gets forgotten.
Peer review.
Yeah.
Peer review. Yeah, that's right. We want a culture of peer. It's not this hierarchical, like senior mentors, a junior. It's like, a mentor can critique a senior. At least in our clinic, it was very flat in that context of like, we're all peers. We've all got something to learn and we've all got something to offer. And so if I had a young grad sitting in with a senior team member, I'd ask that young grad what advice they would give to the senior. How could that senior get better? You teach, the best way to learn is to teach. You teach us how to get better. And so we're creating fostering this environment where it's not hierarchy. I'm not offendable. It's we're all getting better together.
It's a great point. I think one of the early things for a new team member to do is run a CPD session. If that's not viable, then create a resource that's used internally, either for clients or for practitioners in how they take care of a certain condition or patient type. It's a really great way for them to contribute to the group. and also sharpen their skills as well, their clinical skills. This has been really insightful to hear how you think through creating a great experience for a new team member. I think that's something that we love hearing. We work and interface with clinic owners every single day, which is a great joy and a great privilege. I get such a kick out of hearing those clinic owners share their team members' wins of, them achieving things on their desire statement or graduating from, practitioner to mentor or supervisor, that it's like creating amazing places to work is such an awesome outcome of running your own business, right? Because there's so many hard things that happen, so many HR headaches, that when you get that feedback about team members and their progression, the meaningful difference that they make in their clients' lives, gives me the warm and fuzzies. So I love starting their journey from this perspective with a really meaningful approach to them, building their utilization, as you said, JOB, and feeling competent to be able to serve a whole bunch of people in their day and in their week. That's a great outcome. For those clinic owners who are listening or watching, and get over to YouTube, come and see our stuff, hit subscribe. We do screen shares. We show you behind the scenes and a whole bunch of stuff. So what is the one action that you advise a clinic owner could do off the back of this episode, JOB, to land the plane here?
The one thing?
The one thing.
The one thing that a clinic owner could implement from this podcast episode, I would have to say, as I buy myself a little bit of time to let the neurons connect, I would say greet your new team member with a smile and a handshake at the front door and use their name in that first couple of minutes. Make them feel welcome, connect with the people. It's all about the who, it's all about the person. The processes can come later. Connect with the person.
Wow. Said from a spreadsheet guy. He's talking about feelings. Good on you. Well done. Look, that's called personal growth. Jack O'Brien, well done. Hannah, what about you? What's the one action for folks?
I definitely think getting that 0 to 100 in place, if it's not already in place, is critical. There's a lot of research around people make a decision about staying in a job in their first 100 days. And if you can smash out that 100 days, you will have a longer term teammate.
I would say that too, Hannah. I think a version of a checklist of the things that you're going to work through their first 100 days. And I had this conversation with a member, Steph, just last week. It was like 100 days. It's so much. Like, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get it done, or at least not get it done before they start, because they're starting very soon. I said, hold up. Yes. What we can do is just be like a week ahead of them or 2 weeks ahead of them. And this is what you're going to do. And then that buys you time. Just like Jack, you needed some time to answer that question. It's okay. You haven't had enough coffee yet. So we can buy ourselves time. Secondly, to your point, Jack, I think a lot of people try and do one-off things for 100 days and forget repetition. I know you made a great point about shadowing subsequently in the months afterwards. Brilliant point. So if we're talking about like, here's how to do the initial assessment at our clinic, and they learn that in week 1, let's repeat that in week 5 or week 6. Let's come back and really channel mastery, doing it at a world-class level. So it doesn't have to be all new things. You can repeat and do it well.
And on your point about your conversation with Steph, like, we're not giving them the 100 days in day 1. We are giving them week 1. Then we're releasing week 2.
Yeah. Buys you some really nice time, which is fantastic. Jack, Hannah, thank you again for your very practical insights. For folks who've made it this far in the episode, thank you so much. Would you mind jumping into your podcast player and hitting a 5-star review and sharing some words if you can? I don't think you can on Spotify. You can just give it like the 5 stars.
Yeah, but you can comment on the episode. You can give a 5-star review and give us some comments. We'll read them out.
Exactly. No, we so appreciate it. If you're loving the pod, we'd love a review. It really helps spread the word. Right, we'll catch you on another episode very soon. We're going to return back to some of the marketing stuff, which is all about filling the books of a new practitioner, in subsequent episodes with our special guest, our bestie guestie, Peter Flynn. All right, we'll see you on another episode very soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.